because of the circumstances.
Well, good morning, everyone. According to my clock, it's 9:01 a.m, so we will commence the council meeting, please. As interim administrator, I constitute council until the next elections in March next year. But our standard practice in council meetings, committee meetings, is for me to invite members of the interim management committee who are sitting here to also contribute to any matters before council today, and I invite you to do so under council bylaws. Thank you very much. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land upon which we meet. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, cultures and stories of a proud people. Could I ask you all please to stand for the reading of the prayer? Let us in silence pray or reflect upon our responsibilities to the people of Ipswich. We meet today to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, and to make decisions that promote the common good. Thank you. Agenda item D, apologies and leave of absences, nil. Item E, condolences and memorials, nil. And item F, petitions and presentations, nil. Item G, confirmation of minutes of minutes of council. I confirm the minutes of the meeting of the 21st of May 2019 as written. The special meeting of the 4th of June, there's just a typo on page 14 of our papers. Every becomes ever, so it is one of the largest infrastructure projects that council has ever signed. And with that correction, I'll take the minutes of a special meeting of the 4th of June as approved. Agenda item H, reception and consideration of committee reports. There is, to the order, Economic Development Committee report. A note, I identified a perceived potential conflict of interest on my part for that committee, given that the Rambry Management Group is the primary consultant for the CBD redevelopment, and I, from 2008-2012, worked and was a director and part owner of Rambry. I have no association with that company since then, other than obviously through this role. So I chose to stay in that committee and make those decisions. So I identify that potential perceived conflict of interest there. But I take the Economic Development Committee report as resolved, the minutes as resolved. Growth and Infrastructure Committee report, minutes resolved. Communities, minutes resolved. Environment, minutes resolved. And Governance Committee, one little change on page 33 of our notes. We talk about is including the process for internal review rights. My recollection, and Simona made the comments, I think at the time, recalls it as internal or external review rights. Just add in those words, please, and take those minutes as resolved. Agenda item I, consideration of bona fide motions. We have nil. J, reception of notices of motion, future meetings, nil. K, questions, given it's just me, nil. L, officers' reports. And now I use iPad 38. So the first officers' report is report of the Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting of the 19th of June. I'll take that as read. Any comments from Interim Management Committee members, given a couple of us are on that committee? So the report has received recommendations contained in the report of 19th June adopted. Thank you. Second agenda item, the Asset Revaluation Report. Again, any comments from Interim Management Committee members? No? Okay. Resolve that the report by the Principal Financial Accountant dated the 30th of April 2019 with the attachments 1, 2 and 3 and 4 be received and noted. The artwork asset class being a formal valuation of the roads, bridges and footpaths asset class indexation be revalued as outlined in the report by the Principal Financial Accountant dated 30th of April 2019 in accordance with attachments 1 and 3 to that report. And that all other asset classes of land, buildings and other structures and flooding and drainage not be revalued as the cumulative valuation percentage increases or decreases are below 5% as outlined in the report by the Principal Financial Accountant dated 30th of April 2019. I'll take that motion put and carried. Agenda number 3 is the quote or tender consideration plan for locksmith services. So this is an extension of a contract for locksmith services for another 6 months, given we're going through an expression of interest or tender process for that. I won't read out the entirety of those resolutions, but I'll take them A, B, C, D as put and carried. Sorry, unless there's any comments from IMC. Number 4, the overall plan for the Rural Fire Resources Levy Special Charge. Again, I'll take that as motion as in accordance with Section 94 of the Local Government Regulation. I'm adopting the overall plan for the Rural Fire Resource Levy Special Charge as detailed in that report by the Treasury Accounting Manager dated the 12th of June 2019. I'll take that motion as put and carried. Primary, I guess, agenda item for today is the budget. I do have some words to talk about the budget. Before I do, any comments from IMC? Or perhaps my comments might trigger some viewers. The next year, Ipswich City Council will enter a brave new world. The 28th of March 2020 local government elections will see a new mayor and the reintroduction of councillors to the City of Ipswich. The exact shape and makeup of council is yet to be determined by the state government, but that should become clear in the next couple of months. When I was appointed to this role in August 2018, significant changes were needed across the council and with some urgency, and there was a lot of work to do in a relatively brief period of 19 months. While there were over 1,200 staff committed to delivering quality service to the Ipswich community, the councilship definitely needed to be turned towards a different direction, one that is based on the principles of accountability, effectiveness, efficiency, and most importantly with all of these, transparency and ethical and legal behaviour. As part of that, I had to oversee a change of focus in terms of council finances. Without doubt, sadly, money has been wasted, lost, unaccounted for, frittered away, and in some instances, completely mismanaged. One of my aims is to help council budgets get back on track. So as interim administrator, I felt obliged to provide a recommended path forward for the elected councillors beyond March 2020 by laying out a responsible long-term financial plan, savings for ratepayers and residents, a council sticking to its budget, and managing continued growth across the region, which has been unprecedented in recent years. So together with my interim management committee, council's new CEO, I should stop calling you new, CEO David Farmer, and executive leadership team, we have come up with a strategy that aims to what I'm calling normalise property rates in Ipswich to be more comparable with other South East Queensland councils. The cornerstone of this strategy is a long-term financial plan to progressively and rigorously hold the city's average property rates increases below the Consumer Price Index, or the CPI, for at least the 5 and possibly the next 7 years. Once Ipswich's average rates are more comparable with other South East Queensland councils, then rate increases would then be generally set on or near CPI. So the 2019-20 budget I'm delivering today includes an average rates rise for Ipswich below the current CPI of 1.5%. In fact, for the average residential home owner, it's about 1.4%, and if you include rates and charges together, it's about 1.18% increase. That is all significantly less than the 2.5% increase delivered by council last year. Most importantly, though, we're setting out a thorough price path for this organisation moving forward. This vision is a bit akin to the current federal government strategies to deliver a 10-year budget plans for the nation. In Ipswich's case, it is aimed at the 82,000 ratepayers, about 2,400 non-residential, and an overall population which recently topped 220,000 and will more than double within the next 15 years. I can assure residents that the significant rates decrease from last year does not mean normal services will be cut by council to the Ipswich community. We are still very much in the business of rates, rubbish and roads, but on a grander scale than some of our neighbouring local government authorities. There will be substantial cost savings in some areas, but I see that more as driving efficiency within this organisation, providing better value for money. Council will continue to deliver the first-class services to everyone. The budget prioritises the most important needs of the city. It allocates money to projects which will enable council to get the job done and to ensure the city is meeting demands imposed upon us by rapid growth. Ipswich is one of the fastest growing councils in Australia. The city ranks near the top in Queensland and in terms of growth and in the top 10 nationally. Economic prosperity and jobs, good roads, an improved public transport system and public infrastructure are important components which help the city provide for its constituents. With this sustained growth trend, we must ensure that we have the services and the infrastructure to cope with the surging population. With that in mind, this is a progressive budget, yet responsible. It retains a reasonable surplus, yet addresses the compelling needs such as the completion of the Nicholas Street redevelopment in the CBD, to which $111 million have been allocated this year. Work is progressing quickly there and the community will start to see the first fruits in early 2020. The budget ensures the Council is delivering basic needs such as waste collection, but also looks to the future as Council seeks definitive answers to solving the city and region's waste issues. Together with 5 other SEQ councils, Ipswich is seeking to find feasible and progressive methods of resource recovery and waste disposal services. We do need waste solutions that are both environmentally sustainable and commercially astute for the city's ratepayers. We look ahead for further development in the master plan communities of Springfield and Ripley, where Council has committed to produce a business case for the Springfield, Ripley, Ipswich Central rail link. Our role in that is to make it absolutely clear to the state and the Commonwealth governments in a factually based and compelling business case that this rail link is absolutely essential for the city and needs to be funded sooner rather than later. Some of the infrastructure highlights in the budget include the $6.8 million Rosewood Library, the new Brisbane Lions Stadium and Training Facility at Springfield, which will also be available for significant community uses, the CBD's new health precinct, and of course the redevelopment of Ipswich Central. There is key capital investment in improving roads, including major thoroughfares such as Brisbane Street, Old Toowoomba Road and the Marsden Parade realignment. It addresses long overdue governance concerns, yet paves the way for future councillors to develop a healthy, active and engaged community. One of the features of the 2019-2020 budget is the Community Donations Program, with $400,000 of ongoing funding to ensure that community organisations get access to vital financial assistance from Council. We are proud to deliver this new program and remove the stain of the old discretionary funding scheme, which essentially allowed former mayors and individual councillors to distribute council funds to various groups without, in my view, a proper process. There will be no more memorabilia bought with ratepayers' money. Providing financial assistance to legitimate community organisations who are providing valuable community services is, in my view, a core role of local government and of good local governments. This new community donations program is a much fairer, accountable and transparent process. It brings us into line with other councils across Queensland and the nation in terms of proper governance. Today also sees the first gathering of the city's new community reference groups. This evening, where 99 taking over the world, 99 members of the Ipswich community will sit on 5 separate reference groups and provide valuable ideas and advice to Council going forward. They will be the eyes and ears of the people, and we can draw on this vast local knowledge base, give more people a voice in decision-making process of Council, and ultimately make Council better. It is just one of the many measures and improvements introduced over the last 9 months to take Council and the City of Ipswich forward. I think that puts the city in a stronger position and one that will restore faith and confidence in the future leaders of the city. All in all, this budget delivers everything the community needs for now. It is not a back to basics, not a business as usual or a build it budget. It is just a rational and disciplined budget based on strategies for this wonderful city to be the best that it can be. My thanks to the Interim Management Committee, David Farmer and Council's corporate team for your advice to me and your dedicated hard work in preparing this budget. Thank you. Any comments from Interim Management Committee? No? So there's a series of recommendations, A, B, C, for the budget. I won't read all those words out, but I'll take them as resolved. Okay. Now I've lost my agenda. Excuse me while my iPad boots up. No other items?
No other items.
Okay, no other items. Consideration of items placed on the agenda, none. Therefore, I declare the meeting concluded at 9:15 a.m. Thanks all.